Bet on Paradise and bet on yourself. Today I'm chatting with HGTV's Betting on Paradise stars Steph and Luke, who gave up their corporate jobs and moved their family to Costa Rica to buy and remodel a rundown hotel. Every moment of this renovation was documented for TV, and the couple share how they did it, what they learned, and what they are up to next. All right, I want to welcome Steph and Luke to the podcast. How are you guys?
Very, very good. How you doing?
Oh, we're so happy to be here,
I'm good.
Shannon. Thank you so much.
Well, you've got lots of transitions, careers, businesses, all of it. So we're going to get to everything and your new show on HBO Max, which is very exciting. Why don't you each tell me where your careers began?
Well, we met in Asia traveling, teaching English for 4 years. And then we decided we had to go home and kind of start our careers. And I was always interested in hospitality, travel. It was all very exciting and alluring. So I ended up starting off in like a little rundown, like a 2-star hotel somewhere, and slowly worked my way. And my dream was always to work for Four Seasons. So I had kind of slowly inched away every year. Like, I'd work for Starwood, then I'd work for Marriott, and I'd work for Westin, and all these like little stepping stones. And so finally I was like, I got my dream hotel, worked for Four Seasons, settled into doing that for a couple of years, right? We had kids, all of that good stuff. And I think that I really loved it and I really enjoyed it. But I personally, I don't know about you, I got to a point where I think I was like, I'm at the pinnacle of what I thought I wanted for my career. And I was like, is this it? Like, is this going to be my life now? Is there not more? I think that was like a big thing. And because we had met as travelers, I think I always felt that pull to do something again. But, we had kids, we had a mortgage, we had a house. There's so many things that tie you down, and it makes it hard to kind of see your way through that and where you can pick up and do something different.
Yep.
When you're, ingrained into this, like, this job, you have bills you got to pay, you have kids, you got after school programs that are expensive, so many little things. And I think that's kind of where it started.
Yeah. And then I finished high school. I lived in a really small town. There's like 1,500 people in our town. Never been on an airplane. And then I actually left and moved to Australia and started working out there. Like I was a fruit picker. I worked in a little cafe. I was a moving man. I kind of did all these things. Came back to Canada. And I actually went to school for tree climbing and boriculture. So I used to like climb up 80-foot trees with a chainsaw and cut them down and do all that. Did that for a while. I didn't really love doing that. And in the winters, I do construction, and then moved to Taiwan where I met Steph. We were both English teachers there. Came back, started my own tree company. And then eventually I really like the sales part of things, like talking to people. So eventually I fell into like corporate sales at Indeed.com. I started out there, like the bottom of the bottom. So I made my way all the way up to the top. And that's where we were set in our dream careers.
Yes.
So we thought, and then,
Shake it all up. Let's blow it all up.
I mean, blew it up.
Well, and that happened during the pandemic is when everything kind of shifted for you all.
We'd always thought there's one more adventure out there, but we'd always talked about moving south. But because we had our careers, we had our kids, we had the house, we had the car, we had everything that you dream about it one day, but you never really felt like you could. It's hard to give all that up. That's like a really big security blanket. It's hard to take that off. And we're about to start investing in real estate and doing some other stuff.
I knew that if we did that, we're forever tied
Yeah.
here because there's always things you need to manage.
Yeah.
And have other
Right.
property.
And then the pandemic happened and Steph working for Four Seasons, but they eliminated like all director roles because hospitality went from 100 to 0.
Yeah.
My company was like, we're not in the office anymore. And I think that was it's like the universe giving you a kick in the ass and being like, hey, you asked for an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. And then in a few months, we sold the house, packed all of our stuff up. We'd never been to Costa Rica. We had 2 little girls and we booked a flight to a town we'd never really heard of. Airbnb, we just saw online and just left. And we just kind of, just hope for the best.
Just move there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Enough.
Oh my God, so many questions. What was it that made you say, let's book this plane ticket, sell the house, let's go?
We sort of knew this was a sign from the universe that
Right.
we had one more adventure left in us. And I think we always were interested in Costa Rica just because it checks so many boxes. And I think it's very alluring for a lot of people, right? Because it's, the ecotourism, it's very safe. There's a really good, healthy middle class. Education was very good in the country. That was like a big thing.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just move there. And, you could live like a greener lifestyle, just outdoor and active.
We were going to be farmers.
Yeah, that was our originally, we're like, let's just be permacultures. Because, with the pandemic, so many things were like, there was this whole scarcity mentality during that time. And I think we were like, we should just have our own farm and we will never be hungry. I think we just had this idea.
We'll live in the mountains, grow our own food,
Yeah.
live off solar and wells. And then we went to one farm and we were like,
there's no way.
Let's go find a condo.
Wait, I have to interrupt and ask, what did everyone think when you said, hey, we're selling the house and we're moving to Costa Rica? Because so many of my listeners have these big dreams, but they're so concerned about what other people think that I want to know how that impacted, if at all.
We had definitely had some pushback from people just being like, are you crazy? Come on.
What are you going to do? But you have this job. What about this? What about that? There's always a lot of what abouts. But I think when you let go of it, though, once we sold the house and all the things that I spent years like accumulating in my house and more in the mall, but then I set them free. But I think also with the 2 kids, there's always people who are also very concerned about things like that. But what about the kids? What about this? How are they going to manage? So there's a lot of questions.
This huge leap that you're about to make. You're worried other people are going to think you're nuts, which they do. After you've made that leap, once you've done it, it's funny how the narrative changes from, why are you crazy, to you're so brave. I admire that you guys made that step because I don't think I could ever do that. So it's funny how the dialogue changes a little bit.
And self-aware enough to know, like, this is what we want to do and this is going to work because we're going to make it work. Not everyone is like that. So that's so admirable. So you take your girls, you get there and you're like, I don't want to be farmers. Let's figure this out. What is next? And talk about that big opportunity that came your way.
So we had finally moved. We moved around Costa Rica quite a bit to find the town we liked. Found one that had like a bunch of schools to choose from, more of the modern day amenities. They had good grocery stores, doctors, dentists, all that. We found the town we liked. And we were talking about just doing like a small Airbnb because Steph always wanted to own something like that. But we kept on driving by as a corner unit. We were able to raise some money, which was great. And I think the other thing was we were really enjoying our life there. Every day was feeling really good. Costa Rica felt like the right place at the moment. And so we knew, though, eventually the pandemic was going to end. When the pandemic ends, reality is going to call and people are going to go back to the office. We need to figure out a way to make an income and sustain this life here. So we just kept on going like, man, the spot, something about it was calling us. The town we were in has quite a long beach. The beach where our hotel was is like the safest. It's like quite shallow. Like the kids can play.
Beautiful.
It's really nice part of the beach. We got it, and then we realized afterwards it might have been a lot nicer on paper. It was a lot to take on the hotel we got.
It was so much. We were so in over our head.
Yeah, right from the beginning.
A
Yeah.
hotel is way different than an Airbnb.
Now it's a small one. It was only 9 rooms.
Okay.
So it's not, it wasn't massive, but it was like 9 pretty horrific rooms.
You buy this, you have to obviously renovate. Where did the idea of doing this all on camera come from?
I mean, it was such a fluke. We were saying this would be really cool for us to document, like even for ourselves before we even started. We were like, this would be a very cool thing to document just because the hotel was so run down and then to kind of film that transformation. But then our neighbor, who just happened to be a doula for like this VP of this production company in New York, she randomly told her about us saying, oh, like there's this couple, their story is kind of interesting. And this was during the pandemic. So there was a lot of like consumption of reality TV and they were looking for a lot of content. So then she was like, she wants to meet you guys. Are you okay with this? And we said, yeah, sure. We had a little call with her. She was interested. They sent some people down, filmed a little sizzle reel that was like 15 minutes and then shopped it around. And then HGTV bought it and said, yes, we want 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And then we were like, you actually have to start doing this project now.
Right?
And everybody's going to be watching us do it too.
Because we were just coasting on like,
Yeah. It was very cool, but very unexpected.
it all kind of happened within less than a year. Meeting this person, them saying, yes, okay, let's green light this. And then it was like, okay, go time to film. And
Yeah.
we were like, oh my goodness.
And guys, that doesn't happen often. I come from television. To greenlight a project can take a really long time. So they obviously knew you were doing this in real time.
So let's come.
Totally.
They need to renovate this. They're not waiting for us to send our crews down till they can start. So, so smart. What perfect timing. Now you're learning how to renovate this hotel on camera.
We didn't really speak Spanish. You want to be sense because the guys work so hard doing it, but like Pura Vida can also mean like, we'll see it today and mean is Wednesday. So it was like coordinating crew of people, the television show, trying to make sure all of that was lining up, which was like, it was a great experience. We love filming it. We were doing it, and like every other construction thing, budgets kept going up and going up and going up. Again, so you're trying to find funds to do it, trying to keep it under budget, but it's also, you want to make this hotel become like what Steph envisioned it. And like, you want to make it HGTV worthy, right? You don't want it to be a boring place, which we wouldn't have done anyway, but it's now going to be magnified on network television.
Right.
So putting all of those things together was like, it was really rewarding, but very traumatic and stressful at the same time. And then we had the bright idea that for the last episode, it should be our wedding. So we also got married in episode 6. So when everything's coming to a head, like we're going to hit the timelines, the TV show, the finale, and then all of our friends and family had a wedding at the hotel. So it'd be finished. It was bonkers.
Yeah.
So,
It was like the most like stressful time of our lives. And I think our relationship was really like under the most amount of stress it's ever been under.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can make it through that with 2 little girls, wow. By the end of episode 6, you have your wedding. And is the hotel finished, like completely ready to go, having customers at that point?
It was finished. We didn't have customers yet.
No, it was honestly about another month after that. Like it was ready, but none. Just a few tweaks before.
Not guest ready.
Okay.
But it was ready enough. Yeah, like but fairly quickly after that, the doors were open. Because that was the other thing. We had to hire a bar manager, like, and start hiring staff as well while that was going on. So we took a few weeks after the filming, after the last episode, and just to kind of concentrate on the business.
Tell us about the name of the show and where listeners can watch it.
It's called Betting on Paradise, and it's streaming right now on HBO Max and Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
That is your second act coming to life. And then you've got this hotel and things are going well. And there's some new news that you have about another act potentially.
Yeah, so things were going well. It relates to kind of what you're doing, honestly. Like when I was listening to your show and stuff, I'm like, the timing was great. So we had built this hotel, but we'd also had done, I think a lot of it we built out of reacting to things rather than like really zooming out and seeing, are we heading in the right direction? I'd met a friend of mine I knew her like 20 years ago, Crystal Lee, and she happened to come to Costa Rica and messaged me and just like, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to meet up. She became a part of our community. But she did business coaching, kind of like what you're doing. And we started just to really zoom out and take a look at our lives and be like, are we heading in the right direction? And really, the biggest thing we want to do is really kind of serve people, make sure that whatever we're doing is trying to help, trying to further anybody we're working with, trying to build community. And so we had started working with her on a retreat business as well. So like we were talking about, a lot of people are like, I want to do this, but it's really hard. What are people going to think of me? How do I do it? How do I rip off this Band-Aid? Zooming out is great and setting it up with the process so that you try to take as much guesswork as you can out of it was the goal. So we're building retreats around that. We have our first retreat October 25th in Costa Rica. It's at this really gorgeous place. But the idea is to kind of be able to unplug from your whatever craziness your life is. And this isn't professional and personal. So whether a CEO, director, entrepreneur, just someone that needs to change. What we do is there's a lot of coaching involved, but then what we also do is like, you might do a yoga session and then a breath work and a coaching session. And then you come out and there's like 6 dune buggies sitting in front. You get up and we burn up into the mountains and jump off waterfalls and go out on like catamarans, sunset tours and all that. So that's our next journey now that we've launched, and really excited about it.
That sounds incredible. What a different way to see Costa Rica and have that personal development that so many of us, especially in starting over, need, right? We need to take that pause, I think, to check in with ourselves and say, am I headed in the right direction? And what do I need? So that's like a place to actually get that quietness and sit with yourself and figure out your direction, your path, and have a lot of fun in a beautiful location.
Exactly. And I think like nowadays, because everyone in our generation and beyond us, it's not like how it used to be. It's not like our parents where they stayed in the same job for like 40 years. Everyone is looking for better ways to do things. And how are we able to sort of enjoy our time here and not make our life about work?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think we're all searching for that.
Yeah.
This is kind of part of why we decided to do it, because we were like, surely there must be people out there who were like us, who felt the same way.
Was sparked by this was like running the hotel. You meet all these people through the show and all that. A lot of people reach out through our social media and that, and just like, I've always dreamed of doing something like this, but never knew where to begin. And I think that's the biggest, I mean, you would know this too. You know, what's that biggest step is I have a dream and I can see it here. It's like, you just need to take that first step to get going. Where does that first step come from? And what does that first step actually look like? And also maybe that first step isn't right. Like there's also times when you're like, I want to go, and it could be very irresponsible.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know that until again, you meet with someone like you, or you sit down and you go like, okay, this is where my end goal is. Are the steps I'm taking going to guide me down the right path to get there? Even visualizing what is that end goal and just getting started. If we can help people at all to be like, let us be someone we can listen to and we can use our experience and working someone like Crystal, who can be like also the coaching experience. If there's any way we can just help people change their lives a little bit, like I think that's super fulfilling. And then you get to hang out in Costa Rica with a bunch of like, people, which is awesome. So we love our job, but it's also really nice just having, being able to affect somebody else's life would be pretty powerful, you know?
Right, because your show is called, I was just thinking, Betting on Paradise. But really, the whole idea, even with your retreats, is betting on yourself. And that's where, if you can bet on yourself and you can know that this dream you're having is going to fulfill your life in a different way, but taking that first step towards it is really that powerful step that you need to take. So really betting on yourself is everything.
But there's always that scary leap.
Mhm.
When you make it, when you jump, you always land all right. You know what I mean? The world doesn't end. You're always going to be there. It's just making that jump. But it's so scary. You know?
Well, because also I always talk with my clients too, there's shiny object syndrome. So if you're really feeling unhappy and you're feeling stuck, it's like that first thing that comes about. Jumping at it is just your instinct, but then it might not be any better than where you are. So it's really taking that. I always say, like, learn before you leap, do a little bit of research, and then that'll just help your confidence as you're going. You want to make sure you're leaping in the right direction.
Right. 100%. I even look back as starting the way directions about the hotel and the show and everything like that. We reacted so reactionary to everything. So you're making decisions. It's like you don't even realize you're looking at a wall. You're looking at one little brick and you're trying to fix that. And when you zoom out, you're like, oh, there's a whole big thing here. And sometimes you don't know. When you have a show and you need finance and you're doing all this, you make decisions that later you're like, oh, I really wish I had someone that would have been like, hey, before you do that decision, just take a breath. But you don't in the moment. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that too, where you're just like, it's quick fixes for today. Just
Right, you want to get
through the next.
there.
Yeah.
To your credit too, I wonder, and you'll never know, but if you didn't have the show filming you, how things would have been, because you might not have felt as rushed to make those decisions.
Absolutely. And I think we would have taken things at a different pace and and probably gotten a little bit more like taking more time with everything.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. I think because we were on such a tight timeline and things had to be filmed in a certain way, we definitely would have made different decisions. Small things like suppliers and things like that.
Yeah.
Things that we maybe could have taken more time with. And it all ended up working out, obviously, but
And the TV, it changed things. It's such a rare opportunity. And we knew that, especially to get greenlit for a full 6 episodes. But it did. Afterwards, you're like, would we have, I don't know if it would have gone that way. You know, if it wasn't HGTV, though,
True.
you know, maybe we could have got a less expensive child.
Right.
yeah.
It's true. But it all led you to where you are now. And now all of those fans and the people who are following you that didn't know you before, you've got a huge following that are now going to follow you to see what you're doing in this next leg of your business.
For the most part, it's been really supportive, which has been great. People have lived that whole drama too, like trying to build something and trying to do something and nothing ever goes right. And then you come out the other side and it's okay. You know, a lot of people can relate to that sort of struggle.
Oh, yeah. Just to bring it back to nothing as drastic as what you've gone through, but like just changing any job or starting any business, It doesn't mean it's going to be a success right off the bat or exactly how you pictured it. But I always say that at least you tried. You try it and you can always go back to where you were. But you'll never have that regret of not trying it. You just have to, again, bet on yourself and go for it. And you have that experience to live with. And that's what anybody wants, right? You just want to know that you gave it your all.
Yeah.
So true. And I think that when you're in it, it's hard to see your way through it. But then, like you said, once it's done and over with, you're like, you can look back and be proud of like what you've done and things to come.
Mm-hmm.
And also, other obstacles don't seem that hard.
Yeah, setting up a retreat is going to be so much easier than renovating a hotel.
Yes, been running a hotel for 2 years.
Yeah.
What's the name of your business and your retreat, and where can people find you?
So we're teamed up with a company called Tour Global. You can find all the information at steph.n.luke, just our Instagram. The first retreats are more on like the professional, like it is personal, but a lot of professional leadership is what the first two are going to be. And then we're going to be launching more for just everyday entrepreneur, the everyday person, every person that just is stuck and is just looking for another movement. Tour Global. And then, like I said, all the links will be on our social media.
Okay, I'll link to everything, of course. Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask you about escaping the rat race, which you did, creating something of your own and doing it together. How is that different and how do you work together?
It was great in so many ways, in the sense that we could really lean on each other during those extremely stressful times. We could cry together. We could laugh together about the craziness of it all. The only downside I would say is that we could never escape it either. Because we're just always with each other. So that was like, I think it was a little bit of both, but it was actually really nice because we had never worked together before either, all of this. And it's one of those things where I think it really can break you or make you stronger, one or the other, depending on your personality. And it worked out.
And a lot of times it felt like it was us against the world. It just felt like there was a lot of weight on your shoulders. And I think having someone to help carry that was really helpful. And even with parenting too, like that was another huge part of it, because we need to make sure that whatever stresses we are having while filming, while building, while doing everything, it was important to us that did not come home. We moved to Costa Rica to be closer with our girls, be closer with our family, like to unplug. When we were working, we're living in Toronto. We didn't get home till 7:00 at night. We barely saw our friends because, hey, do you want to get together? And it'd be like, sure, 6 weeks from now, maybe we can plan a play day. We want to get away from all of that. So when we got there, we kind of got all that answered. We could call friends. Should we go to the beach? And you could have 15 people there in an hour, which is great. Then the show came, we just thought we need to make sure we stay true to that. And being on the same team with that, Steph, like there's times where I would just have a nervous breakdown. Steph can see it and she would raise up and be like, hold on, I got the girls right now, and she could do it, and vice versa. So for us, like that was, I guess we're lucky that we still love each other. Like have that person to lean on, I think.
Yeah.
Helped us get through a lot of it.
Yeah.
That's a great example for other people too. Because there are a lot of people who go into business together as a couple or as family or best friends, and you just want to see it through to the other side. You're a great example that it can be done. My last question for you as we wrap up, guys, is what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's about to start a second act of any kind and get out of the rat race and bet on themselves?
I would honestly say find someone like yourself. Or find a mentor, someone that has done it before. Make sure that if you are taking that leap, you're taking it in the right direction. Because I think a lot of times, especially as an entrepreneur, you can get there, you get tunnel vision, and you're like, this magic doohickey I'm making is the greatest thing the world's ever going to see. And you don't try selling any to anybody. You just go all in and you start paying thousands for a website, and you don't really know if it's going to be successful. So I think sometimes it's just getting a second opinion from an outside source. In my opinion, is something I wish I knew. And now that I have that, I find extraordinarily valuable.
Having partners that really align with your values. Because I think that was something that we really didn't think about. We were just so enamored and just jumped in, wholeheartedly without thinking about all those things. And I think that was like the number one thing that is like paramount to any good partner. You have to have partners that really align with your values so that you can go in the right direction. And know that you're growing together and lifting yourselves up together.
I love that advice. That's perfect. And I'm so excited for your next act and everything that you're building together. I want to encourage everyone who's listening and watching to go watch Betting on Paradise on HBO Max and Discovery Plus. Go watch it, follow along, grab the links in the show notes to connect with Luke and Steph. And guys, thank you so much for taking time to join us here and share your story with us.
That is our absolute pleasure.
Oh, thanks so much, Shannon. It was so much fun.
Thank you.